Hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to check out an interesting little raven that I rode myself for the Serro, the Serro Toxiata. The Serro is a very old weapon. It was introduced into the game over 4 years ago, and it was one of the OG status weapons that was amazing for force proccing elemental status on the enemy, because it only does electric damage to begin with, it doesn't have any physical damage, and it also comes with good attack speed, good range, and good status chance. But it was kind of left behind with the introduction of Condition Overload, Weeping Wounds, Drifting Contact, and generally just stronger weapons. So I thought, hey, maybe I can bring the old Serro back up to speed with a Riven, and what I ended up with, I can't even say I was pleasantly surprised, because I was just downright shocked. Now the setup I'm running is just 3 forma with 1 V and 2 dashes, and it's a quick attack build. And I have Breeding below for the extra mod capacity. We don't actually care about the combos. Then I'm running Primed Pressure Point for damage, Primed Fury for attack speed, Primed Reach for a lot of extra range, Drifting Contact for combo duration and status chance, and Weeping Wounds so I get more status as I build my combo counter. Then comes the Riven, Serro Toxiata, which adds a ton of toxin, an extraordinary amount of melee damage, but it lowers finisher damage, which doesn't actually matter. I have Primed Fever Strike for even more toxin damage, and finally Volcanic Edge for heat damage and status chance. This is what combines with the toxin into gas. Now as you saw already, this thing just annihilates the corpus. It damn near one-shots level 140 corpus techs from a cold start in the simulacrum. And it's not too shabby when it comes to the other factions either. Here we have level 140 infested ancients, which are not weak to gas. They actually have a 50% damage resistance to toxin, which is what the gas cloud leaves behind. The only units that you can't just downright destroy at level 140 are heavily armored Gornier units. But if you go lower than that, this example is at level 100, they will still die pretty fast, especially when they're grouped up so the gas clouds will overlap. Though you can still push it all the way up to 140, 150 if you have an Adarza Kavat that gives you the cat's eye buff, which makes you crit. It's still not the dirtiest melee damage that I've seen. I think I have few melee weapons that can do a little bit better, but it's pretty damn close. And hey, there is always the option of going full meme and replacing Drifting Contact with Maiming Strike, which does actually work because the Serro has good range to begin with and I'm running Primed Reach here. This gets quite ridiculous, especially when you then add an Adarza Kavat on top of it. I mean, I can't even spawn the corpus at a high enough level to not one-shot them. And since I know people are going to ask about this, the reason why I added a ton of toxin into the damage and not a lot of heat is because the heat portion of gas only adds to the upfront damage, so the initial hit, whereas toxin adds both to the initial hit as well as the toxin dot that's left behind by the cloud. So it's a double dipping sort of deal. You get a bigger initial hit as well as a bigger toxin proc when you get the gas cloud. I mean, man, I still can't get over how strong this ended up turning out, because I thought I would just bring the Serro up to speed, but as it is right now, this is one of my strongest melee setups that I have, and that includes all my Zos, and I've built some pretty powerful Zos. Though granted, it's not as well rounded as my other setups, because it does struggle a little bit versus armor, especially if the enemy is high level, has a ton of armor, and is standing alone, so you have no gas clouds overlapping. But then again, how often do you actually fight a single enemy for any amount of time? Well, maybe a boss, but the bosses aren't high enough level for the amount of damage this does. So yeah, I just thought I would bring the damage of the Serro up just a wee little bit to make it compete with the other weapons, but I instead catapulted it into the frickin' Tau system. So moral of the story, if you get yourself a Serro Riven, give it a few rolls, because you might end up with something utterly ridiculous. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.